The comment Coco Gauff made immediately after her first ever WTA win, which she thought may have sounded bad. Coco Gauff has enjoyed a fantastic career on the WTA Tour, having made her debut at the Miami Open back in 2019. Gauff was just 15 at the time of her WTA Tour debut, but showed glimpses of what was to come in her first main draw match. She faced fellow American teenager Catherine McNally, and came from behind to win their Miami Open clash 3-6, 6-3, 6-4. Gauff was ranked 456th in the world at the time, but showed little fear at the WTA 1000 hardcourt tournament in Miami, where she had been handed a wild card. She produced a hard-fought display to really impress those watching on, although her dreams were quickly shattered by Daria Kasatkina in round 2. The bad comment Coco Gauff made right after her first ever win on the WTA Tour. But before Kasatkina defeated Gauff 6-3, 6-2, the American was on hand to express her emotions after that debut win over McNally. She told reporters afterwards, "I really tried to minimize the moment and just tried to think of it as practice. I know that may sound bad, but it kind of helped me. I just kind of put myself in a mindset that, if I don't stay positive and if I don't go for my shots, then I'm going to lose. So I just went for it and it ended up helping me in the end." And when asked if having a familiar opponent helped keep her grounded, Gauff responded, "Yeah, definitely. I played her twice before this and they were both in juniors. This is a whole different thing for me, but I kind of, again, tried to minimize the moment. It kind of helped, obviously, because I knew her tendencies, but also I think it helps her, we both kind of had an advantage because we know each other's games very well. I think that anyone could have won today, and I think the match just was really decided by 2 or 3 points." How Coco Gauff surprised herself with a first WTA win at the 2019 Miami Open. It turned out to be an unforgettable season for the young American, who claimed her first WTA title in 2019 at Linz. Gauff defeated Venus Williams at Wimbledon that year too, which has undoubtedly played a role in her impressive journey since. Now aged 21, she has 11 WTA titles to her name, with 276 professional wins and over $29 million in career earnings. But the teenager was in an unfamiliar situation following the win over McNally in Miami, after which she was also asked if she may feel differently looking back on the victory in the days that followed. She replied, "Well, I still don't believe that I won. After the match, I served for the match and I was like, do I have to return again or do we shake hands? I didn't really think it was over. This is a dream, I have been dreaming of this moment for years, just playing in the Miami Open. And I have been coming to this tournament since I was 8 or 9 years old. Watching the players here and actually being in the same tournament, being in the same area as players that I've watched since practically I was born, it's so surreal to me." Kasatkina, the 14th seed, then played the role of the villain, but the tennis world had seen enough of Gauff to know just how talented a player she would go on to be. 6 years later, she is not only winning matches but winning titles, having just lifted the trophy at the Wuhan Open. When Coco Gauff won her first ever WTA title as a 15-year-old, the world watched in awe. Her triumph at the 2019 Linz Open was more than a victory, it was a declaration that the future of women's tennis had arrived. Yet, amid the joy, the tears and the headlines, there was one moment that Gauff later admitted made her a little uneasy, a post-match comment she thought might have come across the wrong way. That brief, spontaneous remark offered a glimpse into the mind of a teenager navigating the intense spotlight of professional sports, and into the maturity that would later define Gauff's rise from prodigy to Grand Slam champion. The moment that changed everything. October 13, 2019, a date forever etched in Coco Gauff's story. At just 15 years and 214 days old, she defeated Yelena Ostapenko, the former French Open champion, in straight sets to claim the Linz Open title. The crowd erupted as the young American fell to her knees, covering her face in disbelief. "I'll remember this day for the rest of my life," she said in her post-match interview, her smile wide and her voice trembling with emotion. But then she made a light-hearted comment that would stay with her long after the cheers faded. "I'm just super happy and I guess it's crazy that I'm the champion now. It's kind of bad because I didn't expect to win," she laughed. It was an innocent remark, playful even, but later, Gauff admitted she worried it might have sounded bad or ungrateful. Why it bothered her. In later interviews, Gauff explained that as a young player surrounded by veterans and professionals, she felt self-conscious about how she came across. "I remember thinking afterward, did that sound arrogant? Like I didn't take it seriously?" she said. "But honestly, I was just shocked. I didn't think it was going to happen so soon." Her words, in truth, reflected something far deeper. the humility of a teenager who was still processing the enormity of what she had accomplished. Winning a WTA title at 15 wasn't supposed to happen. Gauff had entered the Linz Open as a lucky loser, someone who didn't make it through the qualifying draw but was added to the main draw after another player's withdrawal. In sports, that's the equivalent of being handed a second chance, and Gauff made the absolute most of it. She defeated seasoned opponents like Kiki Bertens and Andrea Petkovic before stunning Ostapenko in the final. For Gauff, the entire week felt like a whirlwind dream. "It all happened so fast," she would later say. "I didn't even have time to process that I was in a final, and suddenly I was holding the trophy." The power of perspective. Looking back, Gauff's bad-sounding comment now seems almost prophetic. She didn't expect to win, but she believed in herself, a delicate balance that has defined her career ever since. Many young athletes struggle under the weight of early success. The pressure to appear poised, grateful, and confident all at once can be overwhelming. For Gauff, the moment after her first title was one of raw authenticity. She wasn't reading from a script or rehearsing a response. She was simply being Coco. And that's what made her special. Even as she worried about how she might have sounded, the tennis world saw something else entirely. A teenager with remarkable self-awareness, humility, and emotional intelligence far beyond her years. A star learning in real time. After Linz, Gauff's journey accelerated. She became the youngest WTA champion since 2004 and an instant global sensation. With fame came scrutiny, every quote, reaction, and facial expression analyzed by media and fans. She learned quickly that her words carried weight. "I've learned to think before I speak, but I also don't want to lose my real self," she said in a later reflection. "That balance is important. I want to be authentic even if sometimes that means saying something imperfect." That growth was evident in the years that followed. Whether addressing social justice, mental health, or her own on-court challenges, Gauff's voice became one of maturity and clarity. She transformed from the smiling teen with braces into a poised young woman leading the next generation of tennis.